Welcome to another episode of Commercial Property Roadshow. You're here with Helen Tarrant, and today I'm actually going to talk about buying an office space. Is it the biggest opportunity of your life, or is it the biggest mistake of your life? Now, there's so many people in this market who says, no, I don't want an office space because, it's risky, there's vacancies, people are leaving, people are not going back to the office, I don't want to invest in the office space. But are they right? And there's probably lots of people out there, lots of buyer's agents out there, lots of professionals out there who says, void office space is dead. Well, what the history has taught us is no class of property has ever died, right? It's always bounced back. So is this the best time to invest in commercial property, or are you going to make the biggest mistake of your life? Well, I like to go against the grain. Like always, I see opportunities where other people don't. And this is why I work with individuals to achieve success in their portfolio, because it's what other people don't buy and where you can pick up the good buys that get you ahead. So I actually think this is the perfect time to buy office space. If you do follow the crowd and you buy warehousing, you are going to pay premium, top of the market for it. Now you can decide whether that's right for you or not. But if you have a little bit of willingness to jump and leap and a willingness to take a little bit more risk, then office space is the greatest opportunity you will see in the next 3 to 5 years. And this is why. Firstly, after the pandemic, no one could have told you that there was going to be, firstly, a pandemic. Secondly, no one told you that could have predicted that commercial property fell off a cliff the first time we went through lockdown, but then it picked itself right back up again through the second lockdown and continued with this trajectory upwards with people buying and looking at secure stock, right? So we've had this down in this basically a class of property that people would not buy, and then all of a sudden everyone want to buy, including everyday investors and professional investors, as well as syndications and large property groups, right? So we're in this market where there's heaps and heaps of people buying and there's just not enough stock, right? But people are buying a certain type of stock, but not the office spaces. They're leaving that behind, right? Because they think, the market is changed and it's going to be changed forever. Yes, it'll be changed forever, but there's still going to be people coming back to the office space. Let me tell you why. Okay. Firstly, who are the people that traditionally occupied office space before we went through pandemic? Lawyers, accountants, professional services, government tenants, IT, media, training colleges, and basically professional office space, maybe, diplomats' office, travel, education facilities. These were the people that traditionally operated office spaces, right? Now, when the pandemic hit, these people dispersed, they worked from home. But what happened when you work from home is that productivity dropped. It dropped because there was no one monitoring them. It dropped because people started doing yoga at 11 a.m. in the morning, so they work from home. They dropped because they started to go to tennis at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, but then they end up working longer hours to make up for it. So they end up working like 7 p.m. or after dinner to make up for it for the 2 hours that they missed, right? So they feel like they're bringing up productivity. They're also trying to raise kids. They're also trying to do homeschooling at the same time. So productivity dropped. And this is why we're at the moment having a backlog in terms of the banking system, in terms of solicitors, accountants, financial. They just have so much work, but people are still working from home, right? So the productivity is down, right? For a business, that is directly related to profitability. So profitability is down because there's not enough stuff being produced. And who gets pissed off when that happens? Employers, right? They get absolutely annoyed when this happens. But also look at who are the employers of these employees. Traditional office goers, right? They're born and bred in a time where they were probably now in their mid or late 50s or early 60s, where they've started their life working in an office 8 till 6 p.m. and that's their life, right? And when they get home, they compartmentalize, they spend their time with their family, they spend, they focus on their family life or hobbies or things that they do, right? They don't want emails at 8 p.m. at night. They don't want emails at 10 p.m. They want people, they want to see their staff being productive in their cubicles, in their booth between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. So, you want to be employed? That's the kind of mandate you're going to go back to. whether you like it or not. Unless you're in a really creative profession, unless you're in a profession that allows you to be as productive, and unless you can prove that you can be as productive without being in the office, and most people cannot, right? So what we're seeing now, and we're just seeing Sydney, who've opened up for probably about 6 months now, we're seeing 40% occupancy back in the office, right? In the CBD. We're not talking about suburbia, we're talking about CBD offices. Now, Melbourne's got 18% to 20%, so they're behind from Sydney, but they also have one of the harshest lockdowns around the world, right? So they're 20%. But what we'll see by the second half of the financial year, so by June, July, is we're going to see 70%. By the end of next year, we're going to see about 85% of people back at the office. And in about 12 months time from now, in terms of 12 to 18 months from now, from like the financial year, we're going to see everyone back in the office. Yes, you'll be allowed flexibility, but also because there is down in that productivity, they have to catch up. So as we get skill migration back in, there'll probably be a lot of people hiring. We'll probably get efficiency back, and people who want to work remotely will be allowed probably working 1 or 2 days remotely, but they'll still have to come into the office and show their productivity at least 3 days a week. Yeah, you might not like it, but that's what the reality will be around the corner. And in about 5 years' time, people would have forgotten there was a pandemic. We would not need to wear masks. We'll go back to mingling. We'll go back to having large parties. We'll go back to having life as normal. And do you know what? Those people who've invested in office space today will double and more their capital growth in the next 3 to 5 years as the CBD bounces back. Now, yes, you have to be not risk averse. Yes, you have to have holding power to be able to say, yes, now I can give people discounted rent to come in there and it's going to just give me break even. But what I'm going to make in the back end is going to be so much more than what I'm getting in cash flow. It's going to well make up for this, and it's also one of the first and only times in the history of the CBD where growth has not happened and has not doubled, because traditionally when you look at the history of the properties in CBD, they've gone with rents flat for 1 or 2 years and they bounce up and go up by 30 to 40% as the rents change, as the tenants change, as more people come in and demand CBD office space. And right now you can buy half a floor for like $1.5 million or $2 million in prime CBD locations where it would traditionally be maybe a $3 or $4 million property, right? And that will go back to that now. So if you do have the holding power, even maybe buying something small in the office space and be able to weather through that is going to give you the greatest gain in the back end. And maybe 5 years for Melbourne, but 3 years for Sydney, right? Because we have amazing bounce back power. And what has history taught us about being in capital cities is that it has amazing bounce back power, especially when we get international money coming through. And when we get skill migration, we get the mandate of going back to the office space. Yes, I know from right now, this seems crazy and I seem to be going against the grain where everybody's investing in everything else, but I am investing in office space. I am actively looking in the next 12 months to be in vacant office spaces or office spaces with short leases. Hold it through because I know there's capital gains on the back end. I believe this because history of property, every downturn we've had, whether it's commercial or residential, we've been through financial crisis, right? The global financial crisis, and conveniently we've forgotten about that, but we've gone through that and our property prices still doubled years after that, both residential and commercial. And we've continued on strong. And one of the things you see now is people, yes, they're moving to regional, so there's not the same demand. But history also has shown us people who have moved regional have also wanted to come back to the city within 3 to 5 years' time as well. So we might even get that migration coming back. But furthermore, Sydney, Melbourne is going to still continue to have the greatest international skilled migration coming into Australia in the next few years when the borders reopen, as well as international students. And yes, Brisbane is going to be a great lifestyle town, but we are driven in Sydney and Melbourne being the hub of some of the international companies, some of the most innovative companies, some of the companies who are at the forefront, and some companies that are in finance, legal, accounting, that if you wanted to be in an industry, you need to be based here. So as well as the other states look really great, and those properties will continue to grow up in value as well. But Sydney now, Melbourne's having that down up, but it will bounce back. So Is office space the greatest opportunity or the greatest mistake you're about to encounter? Well, it is the greatest opportunity you're going to have. But you've got to be able to pick the area right, pick the type of property right, the type of tenant, and you've got to know how to hold it through. And this is where our skill set comes from. If you are scared, and if you don't know how to, but you want to venture in, reach out to me and let me walk you through the process. If you're scared and you just want to go against the crowd, well, you're not going to get any growth. You're not going to get any capital gains or cash flow that is going to set you apart and really give you the leap. So you make that decision right now. Do you want to leap and be ahead of the crowd? Do something that they're not, be guided by a real expert in the industry and make the right decisions? Or do you want to follow everyone else and make just enough gains, just like the market? Be okay, but not spectacular. The decision's up to you. If you want to find out more, contact me, helentarrant.com, or reach out to me at helen@commercialpropertycashflow.com.au. Until next time, keep hunting, and I will see you on the next video. Bye for now.